Well, it's time to say goodbye. We've had 6 months with this beautiful BMW i4 35, electric, which means we've been saving. In terms of design, I really like the Grand Coupe because it's got that 4 Series 2-door look, but with the practicality of a 4-door. So I really enjoyed that because obviously, if you got family and you want people to get in, the 2-door, you gotta get out, pull the door and the lever and get the seat, then they get in the back, then you close it. You know, if it's raining, you know, it just becomes a bit of an issue. Like with this one, it's got the looks of a 2-door, but it's got the practicality of a 4-door. It looks stunning. If you look at the i4 35 now, it had an update in terms of the lights, the LED lights, the grille, the new design wheels, alloy wheels. Even at the back, the LED lighting is a bit different. So inside, you had the beautiful iDrive. Obviously, it makes it practical for you to operate the curved screen that the BMW now comes with. So overall, this car, we really enjoyed it. People everywhere you go, in terms of looks, they like it. You know that you're buying something that draws attention. The fact that it's electric made it even better because in some cases you approach and people are not hearing an engine and they're seeing this thing move and they're asking what type of engine does this have and you're saying that it's electric. It created a buzz. People were asking, how does it move? You know, how do you maintain it? Which is something nice. But as a design, I really liked it. Yes, the rear door are a bit narrower. So when you get in them, it's not as user-friendly as a 3 Series, but then again, it's much better than a 2-door. The practicality is awesome because if you look at the boot, because it's got, the Grand Coupe has got the large opening boot that links with the rear window, so you can load stuff much better, even big stuff. The rear seats do fold, so we ended up, like during the 6 months, if I wanted to move stuff from home to the office or the other way, I found it easy to work with. The one thing that I didn't like about it is it's low. So in areas where you go a bit gravel road, you know, it depends. But I mean, it's for an EV, you're using something that is city-based, so that works for it. In terms of performance, 210 kilowatts, 400 Newton meters, 0 to 100 in 6 seconds. It is quick, I can tell you that, it is very quick. But the top speed is limited to 180 kilometers. Ufuna and go 180 because the limit is 120 kilometers. But we do know what happens in Mzansi. But in terms of overtaking, this thing, it picks up speed in an incredible way, especially if you consider the price range. I mean, 1.3 million, you're competing with, in terms of a petrol engine or a diesel engine, looking at a 420i or a 420d. So the performance that you get from the 6 seconds 0 to 100, it is quite good, and overtaking is quite good. But then there's this thing of range anxiety. BMW claims 400 kilometers in terms of the range that you get from a fully charged. We never got close to that. The highest we got was 370. But even then, if you consider the cost of below 200 rands just to fully charge it and get 370 kilometers, it's a no-brainer in terms of maintenance. It's quite low. And the quietness, I mean the comfort, because I think BMW realized that you no longer had the engine. So the comfort needed to be higher and the noise needed to be lower. And I think they've invested a lot in terms of that. Driving, it's still a BMW. It drives beautifully. You know, the handling is still quite awesome. So it's still a BMW. It's got that 50-50 weight distribution, handling quite good. Because of the instant power, you can enjoy it. Yes, you will miss the petrol sound, you'll miss the engine sound, you know, that's not there. However, it's okay. One of the things I didn't like about this particular unit was it didn't come standard with a wireless charger for the phone. If you look at a person who's buying this, it's a techno person. You know, the technology is one of their things. So they're gonna have a smartphone. So wireless charging for that, I think that's a miss. Also, the famous Hans Zimmer sound that you have when you're doing like the driving, sport and comfort, this one didn't have one, so I sort of missed that a bit because you know, you wanted that sound in some cases. But overall, I think it's a few niggles that you have, but the big one obviously is range anxiety. Because we've got far less charging places when you compare to Europe and China. I mean, South Africa's got it's quoted at 400 chargers, electric vehicle chargers that we have in South Africa, which is a lot lower than what you have in overseas, which means range anxiety is an issue. We are based in Durban. If you need to drive to Richards Bay, you got to think, you got to calculate. If you're going to drive from here to Joburg, you got to calculate. It's not a vehicle that you can use as a single vehicle. Probably in a family, if you got two, an SUV, diesel 7-seater, and then have this as your vehicle as well, you find that the cost, because it's so low to charge this, to maintain it in terms of charging, you find that the cost offsets having two vehicles, even in a typical family. For a person who's got one car, this is good. The more charges we have, obviously range anxiety is going to be much less. So the price, 1.3 million compared to a 420i Grand Coupe at 1,000,001. Yeah, the cost is a bit high. However, the maintenance, in terms of charging on a month-to-month basis, this is far lower. To charge this, looking at, like I said, just below 200 rand. But now if you put a full fuel tank on a petrol car, it's about 1.5. To spend 1,500 rand on this for charging, you would have done 10 times as much kilometer range. So at 350 with the one we were almost averaging, that's 3,500 kilometers. That's a lot if you look at the cost. So maintenance on these things is quite good. I like it. It's low, like I said, it looks stunning. Electric vehicles, the charging is a bit of an issue. The Harman Kardon sound, I really did enjoy. It sounds awesome. Really did enjoy that. The space is not the best, like I said, because it's still got that vibes of a 4 Series. So it's low, but it's comfortable. It's a nice thing to drive. So overall, if you're looking at buying a BMW and you want to save on maintenance, the i435 is a no-brainer. Looks good, drives beautifully. Range anxiety is there, but overall, I think there's something that you'll enjoy. We've had good time with it. In fact, I'm a person like you've had it, or we've had it for 6 months. I'm thinking, if we had the budget, this is something that we'd buy. The installment would be higher, but the maintenance would be lower. So it's time to say goodbye to our beautiful BMW i4. And I'm hoping that South Africa develops quite rapidly in terms of EV charging, because this is something that we need. Cheerio.